This is not just a new era for further education. This is the new era to really get involved with. So we are standing now looking at changes in almost every part of our world, not changes that we're used to. So let me very quickly try and say, I think, what's going on. So we are seeing coming down our way the Guild. We are seeing chartered status. We are going to hear from the commissions on teaching and learning. We have the new Ofsted regime. More importantly, we have the new autonomy to colleges. So there's a new authority afoot in the sector with these new bodies, actually, that will be sector-led and sector-owned. There's nothing else in town except the Guild. The new autonomy for colleges, the new accountability for governors on how teaching and learning is thriving or needing support in their organisations, and new awards to win as well. So this is the conference to come to, I think, because there is so much going on, and governance is right at the forefront of responsibility for change. So there's quite a lot to take in, a lot of consultations to hear about, and the chance to interrogate the people who are doing those consultations. Well, governors now step right to the front of their organisations. We have the autonomy to institutions through the framework of freedoms, and now that has to be very carefully stewarded by governors. So the freedom to serve local needs, I think, means new tasks for governors. Environmental scans of what's required, watching at their new neighbours on the block, because you're seeing academies grow, you're seeing UTCs and so on. So not just repeating what's always been done, but saying there's a group of us now doing things, what can we do in particular, and is what we're doing really of useful to the future, the learners' future as well as the local community's future. So a really new leadership is required by governance and the colleges, and ELSIS exists to be as helpful with that as possible. Well, my sense is governors have to decide what governance means for them in this new era, and they can make an impact, of course, by two things: freedoms and controls that they deploy inside. So I'm hoping that governors will take up the chance to mobilise conversations of the professionals in their college. Do you know who knows about good teaching and learning? The teachers and lecturers who work in the classrooms and workshops. So actually to mobilise the intelligence within, the talent within their own organisations, rather than looking to government or famous reports, and actually to start to animate with professional colleagues handling these challenges. The controls, I think, are slightly different now, so it's not just about scrutinising the budget till the numbers jump out of the page, but it's about scrutinising the data on student performance, on teaching and learning. So to audit as carefully as the money's audited and scrutinised, actually the teaching and learning in the organisation. The key skill a governing body needs in the new era is courage. The courage to turn their face to a different place, to really respect the local, to get involved locally. Governors have another task from principals. Governors are responsible for the assets that the college is for the community, not just the institution. So that notion of the sharing of assets, the good deployment of very, very scarce resources becomes a key concern for them. And I think that is probably one of their key tasks. That seeing themselves as part of a local system becomes the biggest challenge of all. And of course people are defensive and protective and want to do what they've always done. But this is the chance to change things, and you don't get many of those. Certainly the sector has been used to lots of changes coming from elsewhere. This is our chance to change it, and actually governors must have the courage to do that. They need to know what their professional colleagues, actually nationally and locally and in the institution, think good teaching and learning is. They need to work among themselves as a governing body to say, actually, what's our hypothesis about good teaching and learning in this college? And actually, would our staff agree with us? So this is a learning conversation, I think, between governors and all the professionals. Don't forget, all the qualifications are changing. So what you knew about last year's qualifications, last year's Ofsted inspection, last year's definition no longer matter nearly as much as getting ready for the emerging new definitions. So I would want them to be talking internally. What does it mean for our particular college? Can the staff agree? Because actually if you get the staff in charge of defining, it's what they live for and it's what they know. So I think governors have to learn the views within their college, the performance against those specifications by their own professionals, and also what's being said in the outer world. And I think that's a very good starting point. If delegates come to the 2013 conference, they'll gain wisdom about how the world is changing. They'll get the chance to talk to one another. I'm always seriously overjoyed at the hunger with which we all fall upon one another and say, what's happening in your place? Oh, that sounds fabulous. Will you come and talk to our board about it? I've spoken often about the loneliness of governance and the loneliness of the chair of boards, because you are doing your 360-degree best, and actually to miss the chance of a confessional with peers, I think would be foolish. So you'll know what's going on in the world, you'll get some clues on how to handle that world, and I hope animated and energised for the next phase, this important big phase for the sector.